I'm not gonna lie, this has been one of the hardest bikes I've had to put together, and the manual was not good at all. But now that it's finally ready, let's see if the ride makes up for it.
Hey, what's up guys, this is Daddy O from the O family, and today we've got a brand new electric dirt bike to check out. This is a ZONVEER DX1.
Okay.
This one is built more for off-road riding, trail fun, and that lightweight electric dirt bike experience. So today we're going to unbox it, assemble it, go over the specs, and take it out for a real ride and see what this thing is all about. So let's get into it. Alright, as usual, cut this open. Unfortunately, the box was a little bit damaged when it came in, so hopefully nothing's damaged inside.
Come on, man.
Let's see. Alright.
First impressions on the bike itself. I'm actually really liking the look of it.
Nice.
The body and frame have a really aggressive style, and that gold front suspension gives it a nice pop right away. Even straight out of the box, it already has that compact dirt bike look. Here's the front wheel, and you can see it has a nice deep tread pattern, so it definitely looks ready for some off-road fun. Up front, you've also got a pretty big brake rotor. They also included the front number plate, some foam protection pieces, what looks like the fork guards, the seat, and the kickstand that we'll need to install. Back here you've got the rear guard, the front fender, some stickers so you can customize the look a little bit, the user manual, the 54.6 volt 3 amp charger, this rear side panel, some basic tools, the foot pegs, and of course all the extra springs, bolts, and screws needed to put everything together. So overall everything seems to be here. Now let's see how hard this thing actually is to assemble. Now it's time to get this thing put together. The first thing I like to do is get the front wheel on, so I flipped the bike over, removed the metal rod, lined up the wheel and rotor, slid the rod back through, and tightened everything down. After that came the front brake, and this part was a little tricky because the manual really didn't explain much at all. So at this point I was pretty much going off experience. I loosened the screws, lined the brake up with the frame and rotor, and then tightened everything down once it was sitting where it needed to be. Next, I had to lift the bike up a little to line up the rear shock, slide the long bolt through, and tighten it down so everything was secure. Then it was time for the kickstand, and this part definitely took a little muscle because you have to stretch that spring into place before tightening it down. After that, I came across this piece here, and honestly at first I wasn't even sure what it was because the manual didn't make that clear either. But after looking it over, I figured out it was the bottom panel, so I went ahead and mounted that underneath using the 3 screws. From there, I removed the 2 metal clamps so I could get the handlebars mounted. I set the bars in place, added the top clamp, tightened everything down, and adjusted them to where I wanted. Next up was the front fender, which mounts underneath the front fork, and after that, I moved on to the rear fender. Then I installed the seat, using the large bolt underneath to lock it into place. After that, I put on the front fork guards using the smaller screws. Now at this point I realized I forgot to connect the wiring, so I had to go back, loosen up the top and side panels a bit, and connect everything properly so I could actually power the bike on. Then came the rear panel, and this part was also a little frustrating. I had to remove the seat again and loosen the tail section a bit just to get that panel to fit the way it was supposed to. Once I got it lined up, I tightened everything back down. The front shield was another part the manual didn't explain well at all. I had to move some wires around and even remove the headlight first just to get everything seated properly before tightening it all back together. Then finally I installed the foot pegs, which also took a little patience with the spring and pin setup. And last I put on the foam bar pad, tightened the clamps down on both sides, and finally the bike was all together. And I'm not gonna lie, this one definitely tested my patience. Now let's take a closer look at the ZONVEER DX1, because this is where things start to get really interesting. Right away, one of the biggest highlights is the fact that this bike is running a 1,500 watt mid-drive motor with up to 3,000 watts peak power, and that's a big deal because a mid-drive setup usually gives you a smoother, more controlled feel, especially when you start riding on dirt, bumps, and uneven terrain. ZONVEER says this bike puts out up to 68 Newton meters of motor torque and up to 278 Newton meters of wheel torque. So on paper, this thing should have some serious punch when you hit the throttle, especially for acceleration and hill climbs.
Nice.
Top speed is rated at up to 40 miles per hour, which is pretty wild when you remember this bike only weighs about 92.5 pounds, including the battery. Speaking of the battery, you're getting a 48 volt 20.8 amp hour battery, which works out to just under 1000 watt hours. And ZONVEER says range is around 30 to 40 miles in throttle mode. Of course, that's always going to depend on rider weight, terrain, speed, and how hard you're actually riding. The frame is made from chromoly steel, so it should be nice and strong for off-road riding. And for suspension, you do get hydraulic suspension in the front and rear, which is exactly what you want on a bike that's meant to handle rougher trails and bumpy terrain. For stopping power, it comes with heavy-duty hydraulic brakes, which is good to see because with this kind of torque and speed, you definitely want strong braking performance. And down here, you've got a 14-inch front off-road tire and a 12-inch rear off-road tire, which helps give it that proper pit bike stance and should also help it stay planted once you get it off the pavement. Seat height comes in at 680 millimeters, ground clearance is 240 millimeters, and honestly, one of the biggest selling points of this whole bike is still the weight. At just 92.5 pounds, this thing should feel lighter, more playful, and easier to throw around than a lot of heavier electric dirt bikes out there. So just from the specs alone, the DX1 looks like it's going for that sweet spot of lightweight handling, strong torque, and real off-road fun.
Alright guys, before we take it out for a spin, let me show you a few button functions on this bike. Feels kind of like a motorcycle. In the middle, right above the seat, there's a little key that you twist to turn it on. And then on the left side, here's a power button. For a few seconds, it turns on the bike. Pressing 1, it shows right here, mode 1. Mode 2, mode 3. Mode 3 is the highest it'll go. And then on top, it shows the battery power. You got full power. And then we got a speedometer here and odometer on the bottom. It's 0 miles. It's brand new bike. There is a button down here. Switch for headlight. And it is nice and bright headlight.
Sun is shining on me.
But there's no tail light, unfortunately. And also there is a horn button, which I love. Pretty loud. And on the right side, it is a twist throttle. And over here, if you hold the plus and minus button for a few seconds, it will get you to the advanced setting. And one more thing, this is the left side is the rear brake and the right side is the front brake. And that's pretty much it. And over here is to plug in to charge your battery. So let's go ahead and take this out for a spin, guys. All right, guys, let's go ahead and take this out for a spin. Turn the switch, power button for a few seconds. Turn on. I can clearly see the display, which is good, even in the direct sunlight. Let's start with mode 1. See how fast this is gonna go. Let's go through the grass here. Nice and smooth. Here we go. 18 miles per hour, mode 1. So that's the highest it'll go, mode 1. Ride is surprisingly quiet, even with that big chain. I think you're a bit louder. Brake is excellent. And we try mode 2. Here we go. Oh yeah. It is very torquey. Whoa. 26. Mode 2 is 26 miles per hour. The ride feels very smooth with that full suspension. I don't feel any bumps here. Easier to control, as you guys can see. Time for mode 3. Let's see here, that's the highest it'll go. Oh, God.
Oh my God!
Wow. Pop the wheelie. I have to kind of ease into it. Woo. 32. Man, that was very torquey. Yeah. I did not expect it. Caught me off guard for sure. I have to lean forward so I don't pop a wheelie again. Okay, 31, 33, 36, 37.
Wow.
Got up to 37. Let's see here. Oh yeah. It is windy today. It's very torquey, as you can see. Oh, still Mo 3. Going up the hill, no problem. 37 was the highest I went, but I think you'll go higher because the battery is not full power. It's supposed to go up to 40 miles per hour, but I got it up to 37. I think because the battery is half full. And this bike is very torquey for sure. I popped a wheelie in an accident up back there.
You're crazy, man.
This is a super duper fun bike. Ride is comfortable, full suspension, you don't feel any bumps. Surprisingly, it's got lots of torque than I expected. Caught me off guard. So if you are a teenager or young adult, you guys want to have fun for thrill rides, mountain biking or off-roading, this is perfect. Grassy, bumpy road here, so let's go ahead and test out how it does on this bumpy road. Here we go.
Out here in an open area like this is where the ZONVEER DX1 really starts to feel fun. It feels light, playful, and just really easy to move around. And that makes a big difference once you start riding through the grass, over little bumps, and across uneven ground. And honestly, it feels smoother than I expected. Even on rougher sections, it still feels controlled, planted, and just easy to enjoy. That lightweight feel mixed with the torque really gives this bike that fun little pit bike personality, and it just makes you want to keep riding.
Alright, so after spending some time with the ZONVEER DX1, here's what stood out to me. Starting with the good stuff, the first thing I really like about this bike is just how light and playful it feels. At a little over 92 pounds with the battery, it feels much easier to move around and control than a lot of heavier electric dirt bikes. And that lighter feel really makes a difference once you get it off-road. Another thing I really like is the torque. When you hit that throttle, oh God. This thing definitely has some punch. It feels quick, responsive, and just fun to ride, especially if you like that compact pit bike style feel. I also like that this bike is running a mid-drive motor because it helps the power feel a little more natural, and it makes the bike feel more purpose-built for dirt instead of just trying to look aggressive. And that kind of goes into the next pro too. This thing really does have that real mini dirt bike vibe. The stance, the tires, the size, the way it rides feels like it was made to play around off-road. And honestly, biggest pro of all is just the fun factor. Once this thing is finally put together and out on the dirt, it's the kind of bike that makes you want to keep riding. Now on the downside, the biggest issue for me by far was assembly. I'm not gonna lie, this was one of the hardest bikes I've had to put together, and the manual really did not help much at all. So if you're not experienced with putting bikes together, this one could definitely be frustrating. Another issue was the packaging. Mine showed up with the box pretty beat up. Things were moved around inside. Just wasn't a lot of protection in there. So that's definitely something I think they need to improve. The other thing worth mentioning is the size. For me personally, at 5 foot 10 inches, this bike did feel a little small. So if you're a taller rider, just know this is probably going to feel more compact underneath you. Some people may actually like that smaller pit bike feel, but for taller rider, it's definitely something to keep in mind. And lastly, this is not really a bike I'll call comfort focused. This thing is built more for dirt, trails, and just having fun off-road. So if you are looking for something bigger, roomier, or more relaxed, this probably isn't going to be the best fit. So overall, I'll say the biggest strength of the DX1 are the lightweight feel, torque, and fun off-road personality. So overall, I think the ZONVEER DX1 is actually pretty pretty fun little electric dirt bike. What stands out the most is how light, quick, and playful it feels once you finally get past the setup and get this thing out on the dirt. It really does have that fun pit bike personality that makes you want to keep riding it. Now with that said, I do think the setup experience needs work. The assembly was frustrating, the manual was rough, and the packaging could definitely be better too. So those are things I really hope they improve. And I'll also say this, at 5 foot 10 inches, it did feel a little small for me. So if you are a taller rider, that's definitely something you'll want to keep in mind. But if you want something that feels lightweight, torquey, playful, and fun off-road, and you like that more compact electric dirt bike style, then this one still has a lot going for it. If you want to check it out, I'll put the link down in the description below, and there is also 15% off discount code ZONVEER, ZONVEER. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about ZONVEER DX1. Is this something you'll ride, or do you think it might be a little too small?
I don't know.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. Thanks again for watching, and see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.